Hi everyone, it's John Paul here from Victoria's Flowers and welcome back to Give Generously, the show about giving, generosity and compassion. Today we're going to do another short interview with Ethan Drozd, a good friend of mine, and we're going to talk about happiness and success. Now, this is a really interesting thing for me because, well, some of you guys know that I come from an Asian family background, and success in a lot of Asian families, including mine, is all about those long-term goals, things like your career and having a house and money. But I'm of the generation that believes that that's not necessarily the case, and Ethan, as a person that's a little bit older than me, concurs. He has found through his life that happiness is derived from relationships with people and simplifying his life and doing acts of kindness, simple acts of kindness every single day. So I hope you enjoyed this interview.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's really, I think, what's at the core of our society at the moment. It's this idea of like, well, how do we measure success? And yeah, for me, a while ago, I kind of realized, success isn't about, making lots of money and having these material possessions. I saw a lot of people who had all that and they weren't necessarily happy. And at the same time, I saw people who didn't have very much and who were very happy. When I was traveling around the world, I saw people who had very little, who were almost on the poverty line, but they had community, they had connection, and they were happy. And so for me, success is really, how many lives can I touch? What sort of connections do I have with my family, with my friends? That's how I measure success. It's, how much happiness can I bring to someone's day? There's a fantastic TED Talk. It might not be a TED Talk, but it's from one of my favorite philosophers, Alain de Botton. There's a great talk which he talks about a kinder philosophy of success. And he talks about this idea that, so much of what we're conditioned to believe today is around this idea of that, we need to be and strive to be the next Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and the next Richard Branson, and the likelihood of that happening is like someone who was in the early ages, someone who was a peasant rising to the ranks of a monarchy. So we're kind of sold on this idea that, yes, anyone can be the next billionaire, but the reality of that is not so true. And actually, if we focus on this idea of like, well, how can we touch someone's life today? How can we make a difference to someone's life today? How can we improve someone's life today? Those things added up over a number of days, number of weeks, number of months can make a massive difference, more so than striving for money. Not to say that, having goals and aspirations to make a big difference in the world isn't good. That's great as well. But, looking after the little things, doing the little things and doing them well, that's really important too.
Yeah. So touching on that briefly, I'm trying to play a tiny bit of devil's advocate here. There are a lot of people who I've come across in my life that have said, in order to make a difference in this world, in order to help people nowadays, you need money. And the more money that you have, the more people that you can help. What do you think about that?
Money is just one form of exchange. There's so many ways we can actually connect and make a difference in the world that doesn't involve money. There's a great book called Sacred Economics, which actually talks about a gifting economy, which talks about what we can actually do just through the act of giving and through gifts. It's kind of tragic in some ways that a lot of what used to be gifted and what used to be given freely has been commoditized in the world today. I'm not sure that's necessarily a good thing. Like we used to be able to look after each other's children and used to be able to go over to the neighbors and pick up things that were that we needed. Now we kind of just go down to the corner store and drop the kids off at daycare. Well, what's happened to this sense of community that used to be really prevalent? Now we've kind of lost that. So I think it's really important to have that sense of giving and gifting back again, which doesn't necessarily need to revolve around money.
So I hope you found this episode helpful. Stay tuned for more by liking this video or podcast and subscribing to our channel. If you live in Sydney and are looking for fresh flowers, be sure to visit our online store, victoriasflowers.com.au. A big shout out to the crew, Alfred, Reese and Ethan. This is John Paul from Victoria's Flowers, helping you get ready and give generously. Bye for now.